Dana had laid something out last week, which was what he would like to see happen with the 155-pound division, which is as follows. Essentially, semifinal matches for both of these guys. Khabib versus Tony on one side. Makes sense. Versus Conor versus Poirier. So Conor Poirier Part 2 in a semifinal on the other side, if you will. I like that, and I get that. I think if your goal is to get Conor back in there, I think if your goal is to give Poirier the shot that he so rightfully deserves, and whether he can slide in for a title, and when you got Ferguson sitting out and you got Khabib with the strap, it seems as though the best thing you could give a very deserving Dustin Poirier is a mega fight. If it's not for the belt, it's still against the guy. So it seems as though if all of those pieces came together, that would really make a lot of sense and also give something to look forward to. I like the term semifinal, even though I'm the one using it and nobody else. But I like that. People get that. You know, people understand. I think that's a good storyline. I think it's a sellable feature. Hey, I need to watch this fight. There's no title on the line, but something very special is going to happen tonight. The guy is going to move into the finals. But I also think that it's important that we preserve that. I have seen over time where there is a number one contenders match. Somebody wins that fight, believes he's the number one contender. Somebody slides in a week later, looks a little better, has a little more steam, and all of a sudden he is the number one contender. That's promotion. That's the nature of the business, but I do think it would be a very nice place and maybe even special if you could do that close. Back-to-back, same night, same week, same month at the very least. Have that face-off, but make it very clear that it is the winner of this match versus the winner of this match. And I think as Khabib moves forward, you know, Khabib has this hearing coming up. He and Conor were both set to be in front of Nevada next week for their hearings. Same day. They were scheduled for the same day. How would you like to see that drama? Get those two in the room together. How would you like to see that drama? But at any rate, Conor has moved for a continuance and has been granted that, which is simply to say that he will not have to show up next week. He can go and get another date. But Khabib is supposed to go in next week. And regardless of what he's saying, I'm not going to go, I'm not going to show up. Either way, they're going to make their decision. I think it would behoove him very much to show them respect and show up, and I will predict for you that he will do just that. But either way, they are going to make their decision on Khabib. And as we start to kind of hedge our bets and look to the future, and it's very important for us as fans, for the UFC as a promotion, that we do know where the hell the champion's going to be and when the hell he's going to be there, right? It is very important to know. And I think as you look back on that situation and the gravity and the dramatics of it, I think in many ways we did embellish how bad that action was. I think in many ways, as you put a little time behind this, Khabib's very funny line of, why you still talk about this? In some ways has now become true. Why are we still talking about this? He jumped over the cage. The whole thing lasted well less than a minute. Everybody left fine. There was some action and some drama. Totally inappropriate. For sure, there's going to be a hearing. For sure, there's going to be discipline. Please don't mistake my words. But now that there has been a little bit of time, in many ways it did appear worse than it was. Didn't it? Here, let me give you guys another scenario. Let's say that same exact action happened, but it was on the undercard. Let's just say the building was a quarter full. Not everybody was why it wasn't the biggest fight in history. Not all the eyeballs were on it. The governor, for goodness sakes, because that is relevant to the story, because he was in attendance, he wouldn't have even been there yet. But let's just look at the action. Let's look at the exact same action, but not at the end of the night. Not with the final note we go home with. Not with the biggest cutaway that gets played by Le Batard and Jim Rome and Sports Center. And let's just say it happened earlier in the evening. We had to look at the action for which it was, which was a guy who wasn't supposed to leave the octagon, did leave the octagon. While we can all agree you're not to leave the field of play, how much flesh do we want out of this guy? And ultimately, I think that that's what everyone's going to have to look at. And I really do have to give a compliment to the Nevada Commission in many ways. And the first of which is how they handled this, which is they up front had the wherewithal mentally to say, give us a second. Let's everybody take a deep breath here. We're going to bring in all the video, all the different angles. We're going to make no comment on it. We're going to get our facts together. We're going to talk. We're going to deliberate. I think they really deserve some credit for that. And I think particularly when you look at this, if we were to do this with a knee-jerk reaction, and I have to put myself in there, because I was very guilty too at the time that it happened, of this shock and awe. Oh my gosh, what a spectacle. But as I reflect back and I go, well, the whole thing was about 30, 40, 50 seconds. Nobody got hurt. He left the field of play. He returned to the field of play. He lost his glorious moment. He lost the announcement. He lost the post-fight interview. He had all these fans watching. He lost the biggest purse of his life. And though they will work some of that out and do a percentage and decide what they do, and they've already turned 50%, but now 50% is still up to grab. How much flesh do you want from the guy? Particularly when you were to put that in conjunction with cases that have come before them previously. I will remind you guys of Mike Tyson. I mean, Mike Tyson, was it the Lennox Lewis when Mike Tyson, was that also in Vegas, or was it straight up Holyfield when he bit his ear off? Okay, was Lewis also in Las Vegas, just off of memory? I'm looking off camera here to my producer who's searching the internet now. But either way, I don't know that we have to be factually correct about this as much as whatever those he bit a man's ear off. He was the scourge of boxing. There was no MMA at that time. It was all boxing. You want to see combat? It was boxing. Talk about the biggest fights of all time. It was all boxing. The most famous heavyweight to have ever done it. He bit a man's ear off. Scumbag move. Bit of a dick move there by Mike Tyson. But he served, I want to say it was 7 months. He rematched Holyfield in that same state within a calendar year. I'm not making light of that at all. But there are many people to serve in this. Does he need punished? Yes. Was Mike punished? Absolutely was. Was he financially punished? You bet he was. Was his reputation tarnished? You bet it was. What's the other side of it? Nevada wanted to get on with business. That's fair. They're not wrong for that. And the other thing, and don't ever forget this, is why would Evander Holyfield have to be doubly punished? Why would he have to get his ear bit off and not get the rematch that he wants? Because of bureaucracy, and that side of it never gets looked at. Yes, you're going to have to punish Khabib. He's already been punished, financially and with time, and with the loss of a moment. If you don't think that's enough flesh to take out of a guy, go ahead, take a little bit more. Take a little bit more till everybody's happy. But just understand, whatever you do to him, you're doing to an innocent Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson has done nothing wrong here, and whatever happens to Khabib happens to Tony. If Khabib does not get to defend his championship for X amount of time, whatever that is, that means Tony Ferguson, who did nothing wrong, doesn't get to fight for a championship for X amount of time, whatever that is. And it doesn't end with Tony. What did Poirier do wrong in this scenario? And you can go through the list. You're not just holding up a guy. You're holding up a division and a lot of innocent people and a lot of other people. And all of those things need to be taken into consideration. I will just share with you, I really believe that Nevada will do that. They're very level-headed, and they have operated extremely above board in this situation. And they do deserve credit. And I am right when I tell you they did not have a knee-jerk reaction. They let some time go by. I think it's going to be fair, but I also come with you with a guess, with a prediction that they will go top-heavy on the financial side. They're currently holding in their trust $1 million of Khabib's money. And I know we all love to say, well, they took 10%, or they took 20%, or they took 50%. I don't think we have to do that. They got $1 million to play with. It really doesn't matter at that point if you're talking about 5%. You're talking about a hit. You're talking about a hit to a guy. I think they will go top heavy on the financial side of it. I think they will give him another chance. And a nickel's worth of free advice for Khabib. Do everything right. When they give you that second chance, put your hat in your hand and come back and do everything right. And I think that's exactly how this story will play out.